This is not just another headline about a royal court case. This is the return of a long war, one that Prince Harry says he never wanted, but one he believes he was forced to fight. Once again, Prince Harry is back in a London courtroom, facing the British press. But this time, the stakes are higher, the tone is sharper, and the rules are no longer the same. For decades, the British tabloid press has operated with extraordinary power, shaping narratives, influencing public opinion, and often crossing into the private lives of public figures. Royals traditionally endured this in silence. That was the unspoken deal: access in exchange for restraint, scrutiny in exchange for survival. Prince Harry has chosen to break that deal. What makes this moment different is not just that Harry has filed another lawsuit, it's that he has taken the stand himself. He has spoken publicly, under oath, about how media intrusion has affected his life and, more importantly, his family. This is not image management, this is confrontation. In the courtroom, Harry described a system he believes went far beyond journalism. A system that, in his view, relied on unlawful methods to generate stories, surveillance, private investigators and invasions that he says followed him from childhood into adulthood. But the emotional core of his testimony wasn't about himself. It was about Meghan. At one point, Harry spoke about the toll the press took on his wife and said something that instantly reverberated across the world. "They've made my wife's life an absolute misery." Those words were not shouted. They were not dramatic. They were calm, controlled, and devastating. Because for a royal to say that publicly is unprecedented. Harry wasn't just criticizing headlines, he was accusing an entire media culture of causing sustained harm. And that's why this case matters. For Harry, this lawsuit is about accountability. He has said repeatedly that this is not about money. It's about exposing practices that he believes should never have been normalized. He argues that for too long, powerful newspapers operated without consequences, shielded by influence and tradition. From his perspective, silence only enabled the behavior. This time he is refusing to stay silent. What also makes this moment unique is that Harry is not alone. Other public figures are standing alongside him, making similar claims. Their presence reinforces the argument that this is not a single personal grievance, but a broader challenge to how privacy and power intersect in modern Britain. Still, the press strongly denies any wrongdoing. They argue that their reporting was lawful, that sources were legitimate, and that they were simply doing their job. From their point of view, this case threatens press freedom itself, a dangerous precedent where powerful individuals attempt to intimidate journalists through the courts. That tension lies at the heart of this battle. Where does press freedom end, and where does personal privacy begin? Harry's testimony forces that question into the open. He spoke about growing up under constant scrutiny, about learning early on that private moments were rarely truly private, about how this environment bred paranoia and distrust, a feeling that someone was always listening, always watching. And when Meghan entered his life, he says those fears intensified. He has described watching the same patterns repeat themselves. Negative framing, aggressive coverage, endless speculation, and a refusal, in his view, by institutions to intervene. For Harry, this wasn't just familiar, it was traumatic. He has drawn clear parallels between what Meghan experienced and what his mother went through years earlier. The difference, he argues, is that this time he had the power to step in and the determination to act. That decision has come at a cost. His relationship with the British press is openly hostile. His relationship with parts of the establishment remains strained, and public opinion remains deeply divided. Some see him as a crusader standing up to abuse of power. Others see him as a privileged figure unwilling to accept scrutiny. But in that courtroom, Harry's focus was narrow and personal. He spoke as a husband, as a father, as someone who believes that certain lines were crossed repeatedly and deliberately. And that belief explains why this case feels different. Because this is no longer about managing headlines. It's about rewriting the rules of engagement between the powerful and the press. If Harry succeeds, it could force news organizations to rethink how far they go in pursuit of stories. If he fails, it may reinforce the idea that public figures must simply endure intrusion as the price of visibility. Either way, the outcome will echo far beyond one courtroom. This case is not happening in isolation. It comes at a time when trust in media is fragile, when public skepticism is high, and when questions about ethics, privacy, and accountability are being asked more loudly than ever. Harry's decision to testify personally signals that he understands what's at stake. This is not a quiet settlement behind closed doors. This is a public reckoning for the press, for the monarchy, and for the idea that some stories should never come at the cost of someone's mental health or safety. As the trial continues, every word will be dissected, every claim challenged, every emotion scrutinized. But one thing is already clear: Prince Harry is no longer playing defense. He is not asking for understanding. He is demanding accountability. And in doing so, he has changed the nature of this battle, from a personal dispute into a defining moment for media, power, and privacy in the modern age. This time, the rules really have changed.